Today, I want to talk to you about a very serious disorder. Blitz chess addiction. You may be laughing, and you may be slightly right. It's not such a terrible disorder, of course, but boy, is it an annoying disorder to have, and boy, does it cause some problems. We'll get into why you should care a bit later, but first, what better to showcase this Blitz addiction than this picture? This picture shows two gentlemen playing Blitz chess on the beach. And actually, there's a chess table a bit next to them, and another one, and another one, and another. Yeah. So, this showcases their Blitz addiction because they're even finding a way to play chess on the beach. Okay, maybe not so terrible, but yeah. Okay, so let's dive into this disorder and how you can cure it. So, definition: the ICD-10, the International Classification of Diseases, it defines dependence as a cluster. So, it's a collection of physiological, behavioral, and cognitive phenomena in which the use of a substance or a class of substances, in this case it's one class, which is Blitz chess, takes on a much higher priority for a given individual than other behaviors that once had a greater value. So there's this kind of exclusion. So when you're so addicted to Blitz, like maybe before you used to play 2 hours of Blitz, 3 hours hanging out with friends, 2 hours relaxing on your own, 4 hours studying, etc. That's how you used to divide your day. But now, when you became a Blitz addict, you started spending like 10 hours in a day, every day. So that becomes problematic because you're kind of excluding other activities you once used to partake in. And you can think of this dependence in terms of desire. So you actively want to play Blitz chess. Difficulty controlling use, so you can't stop yourself from playing. And withdrawal symptoms. So if you do stop, if you are able to stop yourself, or something happens and you are able to stop, and you're forced to stop yourself, you start getting the jitters, you start becoming cranky, you need to play Blitz chess just to feel normal. Okay, so here's why you should care. Most importantly, for chess players, it could hurt classical chess performance. And you get your titles from classical chess, so International Master, FIDE Master, Candidate Master, Grandmaster. You get all of these titles from your classical chess rating, so that's not good. And also, classical chess is the purer form of the game, let's say. So yeah, you might be very good at Blitz, but your classical doesn't really catch up to that level of strength of your Blitz, so that might be problematic. And it decreases chess study time, because if you're playing Blitz all the time, you're not going to have time to study chess. And that's of course problematic because, again, classical chess is more dependent on your knowledge than Blitz chess, I would say. And of course it increases anger, depression and anxiety, irritability, if you're losing a lot of Blitz chess, and that's why you're so addicted to it, because you want to gain your rating points back or stuff like that, you become very jittery, very angry. And Blitz chess in itself, the quick-paced nature of it makes you very jittery and angry. And that's speaking from personal experience. And in severe cases, it could even affect social life. Like in the example I gave, if you spend 10 hours on Blitz chess, yeah, that's going to really affect your social life. So that's also problematic. And after your social life is affected, even your work life, you might not spend as much time studying, you might hurt your future, basically. So yeah, that's why you should really care, and why you should fix this disorder. In general, you should not have any addictions, right? So, risk factors. What are the risk factors of developing this disorder? Of course, an addictive personality and a young age, because younger people enjoy these adrenaline rushes more. ADHD is a possible even comorbidity, so you might have. So that's why you don't play classical chess, because you can't focus, and that's why you play Blitz chess instead. Disliking studying chess, of course, it's not clear if that's a risk factor or an effect as well. It might be both. And the promotion of Blitz in chess media. So a lot of people, while there's this new wave like denouncing classical chess because it's so drawish and so boring, and it's more fun to watch Blitz chess and all of these blunders and stuff like that. I support this, of course, but classical chess should not go away, of course. Not even close. We're not even close to 1% of the solution to chess, and no one will be able to memorize that anyway. If classical chess is too much about preparation, then the solution is maybe chess 960 or some such. But even then, I mean, why would you want to remove the scientific element of chess? Yeah, that's a different topic for another day. And also being time poor. So older people, while they might not enjoy the adrenaline rushes so much as younger people, probably, if you're time poor, if you don't have much time, of course you're not going to play a classical game that can last hours. So okay, so what are the symptoms? How do you know you have a Blitz chess addiction? First of all, the most common symptom I would say is this just one more. When you keep saying just one more and you can't stop. And yes, that makes Nakamura a puzzle rush addict. Okay. And if you have this, a very problematic thing is closing your account and then reopening it. So if you have like some important exam or something, or a really important set of exams, you close your account and then you reopen it and then you close it again when you get exams. I mean, that might be construed as positive behavior, but really it shows a problem in yourself, your lack of self-control. And I'm not saying that as something that's negative. I don't mean to be disparaging, but that's of course something you need to fix. And you can't cut down, of course, and significant time on Blitz. You shouldn't play 3+ hours of Blitz a day. In terms of chess progress, it's not helpful, and in terms of just like enjoying yourself, if you play more than 3 hours, it's you're really not enjoying yourself past that point. Now, again, speaking from personal experience. And the craving to play, of course, having this craving, I need to play. And when it affects responsibilities, that's another symptom. So you feel you're getting worse grades. That means your Blitz chess addiction is developing further. Giving up important activities, of course, that's related. And tolerance. Tolerance is very big. So if you keep playing like 10 hours of Blitz a day, at some point you're going to not feel as much pleasure. Your reward center is going to be kind of saturated, so you don't feel as much pleasure from playing Blitz, and that's very problematic. We don't want to reach that point. We want to have our pleasurable activities keep being pleasurable, but when they cease being pleasurable, that shows a certain kind of problem. And of course, when you get withdrawal symptoms, so we spoke about this before, and triggers play to cope with all kinds of stress. So if you're like if you get angry from someone and start playing Blitz chess, if another bad thing happens and you start playing Blitz chess, let's say you lose your job, you start playing Blitz chess, that's not good. So you're using it every time as a means to cope. That makes you even more dependent on it, and you don't get as great an effect from it. And also because you're not psychologically stable, because you're using it as a means to cope, you start losing more rating, and that can create a vicious cycle where you keep losing rating and you want to gain the rating points back, so you keep playing Blitz, and you just feel awful. And believe me, I've been there. So treatment. So the best treatment I found, and the reason you're watching this video, is to play a set amount of games on your main account. Say today I want to play 5 Blitz games. No matter what happens, even if you lose 5 of them, I don't care. You have to be in that frame of mind. Even if you lose these 5 Blitz games, I don't care. You can have a secondary account where you play as much as you want, you try different openings, you don't care about your rating, and that secondary account where you don't care about your rating helps you to not care about your rating on the primary account as well. In the end, who really cares about your rating, right? It might be helpful in some situations, let's say chess coaching or something, but does anyone deeply care? I can assure you this: no one deeply cares as much as you do about your rating. And it's very, like, if you imagine caring so much about your rating, you spend hours a day caring about your rating, worrying about it, and then someone really dismisses you. Yeah, you're 2200. Well, I know some 10-year-old kid who's 2300, and that may very well be true. So don't get into this cycle of or 11-year-old kid, because 10-year-olds. Yeah, I don't think there are any 10-year-olds with 2300 rating, with a 2300 rating. But you get my point. So probably there's always going to be someone better than you, and I say probably in case Magnus Carlsen is watching this video. And yeah, so putting in all of that effort, it's for you, not for other people. So understand your psychological issues, perhaps your narcissism, your ego-driven rage at losing, self-hatred at not living up to a good version of yourself or a better version of yourself. Yeah, always keep that in mind. And chess is a fun game. We're playing this game for fun. Okay? It's a game at the end. It's not a scientific enterprise, otherwise we'd be playing correspondence chess. And it's not purely a game for absolute enjoyment either, because we're also studying theory, so we get better, so there's a scientific element in it as well. And it's art and it's sport, so it's a very vast game that has multiple facets. But at the end of the day, it's a game. So play it for fun. And keep your competitive drive. I don't want you to not care about your rating at all and suddenly become dive from the 2400s to a 1400 level. But don't forget that you must enjoy the journey, not the destination. Because as I said, the destination, there's always going to be someone better. Unless you're Magnus Carlsen. And even Magnus Carlsen, he gets criticism for not being as great as Bobby Fischer, as Garry Kasparov. So if you put all of this effort, just so that after all of that time, so for people to like you, and after all of that time, people start saying things like, yeah, you're not the best ever, there's Garry Kasparov. Yeah, so you'd kind of feel robbed and cheated. So do it for yourself, for the betterment of you as an individual, and to remain happy. And how to prevent Blitz chess addiction in the first place? Know that it can easily arise. Because Blitz chess is so fun, so it can easily arise. And I found also to prevent it in the first place, or to not relapse, it's great to start studying chess so you understand its depths. So you see that when you're playing Blitz, you're really playing kind of a different game. It's way less deep than you can imagine Blitz. But actual chess is so much deeper. And set a fixed amount of time, a fixed amount of games that you can never exceed. That is also part of the treatment plan. And again, realize that Blitz chess is not 100% correlated with your classical game. You can be 2400 at Blitz and 2000 at classical, and the inverse. You can be 2400 classical and 2000 at Blitz. And which one would you want? Of course, I would want the latter. I want to be better at classical chess, because that shows deeper understanding of chess, and your ability to calculate, your ability to find good solutions to tough problems, because your opponent is also having this ability to calculate greatly, deeply, and this time element is less important, and it's so important to Blitz. So making decisions with low amount of time isn't so important in classical, or isn't as important, and that really creates a different kind of game, a purer game, I'd say. And if you get 2400 in classical, and with 3 norms, you're an international master. While if you're 2000 at classical, you're a nobody. Don't mean that as an insult, but I mean in terms of FIDE titles, you don't have a FIDE title. So yeah, of course, we'd rather be the latter. And here are the image credits, and I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope it can help people get out of these bad habits.